guys, this is Mrs. V. I'm out today, but I'm going to have you read a story along with me in your Read 180 Workshop 9 books. You're going to turn to page 16, and we're going to start reading the story, The Last Day of Summer by Lamar Giles. Okay? And so I'm going to read along. I'm going to pause at some vocabulary words to kind of help you through it. And then you guys are going to do the questions. Okay. Page 16. It's the day before school starts, and cousins Otto and Sheed aren't too happy about it. They wish they could freeze time and enjoy the last day of their adventurous summer. Little do they know their wish is about to come true. From here on Harkness, he could see the county end to end, big and green, with wide fields of high grass that swept back and forth with the breeze, turning the blades into gentle waves. Grandma's house was less than a mile away, a canary yellow island to the west. Beyond it was the town of Fry. Fry only had 2 intersections and 3 traffic lights. The 3rd traffic light was a spare, acquired in a buy 2, get 1 free sale. It got mounted in Butler Park, regulating foot traffic between the swings and the slide. Also visible on the far side of Fry was the gnarled forest, where the ash-white trees never grew leaves, and the eternal creek, which had no beginning or end. Other points of interest included Sunshine Cemetery, the McDonald's, and many other things mundane and strange that made up Logan County. All of it lay before them, all of it full of potential, all of it just out of reach once they returned to D. Franklin Middle School tomorrow morning. If you notice at the bottom of the page, they give you the definitions of both the word eternal and mundane. Eternal means lasting forever, so the eternal creek, which means it went on forever. And mundane, where it says mundane and strange, means boring and ordinary. Page 17. And Sheed couldn't be bothered to get his head out of the clouds. Maybe I need a new partner, Otto thought. Well, hello, young men. Otto spun at the sound of the new voice. Sheed hinged up his waist, shielding his eyes and one hand and squinting into the sunlight. The approaching silhouette was string bean slim and taller than most, thanks to the stovepipe that propped crookedly on his head. He stepped quickly, his skinny arms and legs whipping him forward with almost boneless ease. Tipping his head toward them, the hat's brim slashed a shadow across his face, dividing it diagonally, leaving a single crystal blue eye, half a nose, and a split grin visible. "Who are you?" Sheed said, getting his feet under him. Otto, shorter and wider than his cousin, gravitated to Sheed's side. Both of them angled slightly away from each other for a better view of their flanks, in case something dangerous tried to sneak up on them. Maneuver number 24. If you notice at the bottom, there's the word gravitated and maneuver. Gravitated means move towards something, someone or something, and maneuver, a carefully planned action. So when it says gravitated to Sheed's side, it means that he moved towards Sheed's side. And when it says maneuver number 24, it means something that was a carefully planned action. Okay, go ahead and turn to page 18. I'm a fan, the man offered his hand. You two are the legendary Alston boys of Logan County, correct? You disperse the laughing lotus before they devour the county's crops, he said. You solve the mystery of the woman in teal. Sheed stiffened. How do you know that? Doesn't everyone in Logan County know you too? Yes, Otto thought, they do. She's always a killjoy, said. You're not from Logan County. Otto cringed at how rude his cousin was being to a fan. The man remained gracious. Oh, but I am. I've just been away for some time. He offered his hand again. I'm honored to meet you. Otto, wanting to make up for Sheed's lack of manners, broke formation and shook. Hi. Sheed followed suit. though with less enthusiasm. Hey, Mr. Flux, did I accidentally overhear you're concerned about this being your last day of summer? She'd said, not real. Yes, Otto said, absolutely. Mr. Flux said, that just won't do. Time gets away from me, and I'm just a simple man. I can't imagine what it must be like for a couple of heroes like you. It must seem like there just aren't enough hours in the day. You don't seem simple. She'd noticed a canvas sack slung over the man's shoulder. If you look at the bottom, there's the word disperse and devoured. Disperse means distributed or spread over a wide area. And the next word is devoured, and it means to eat quickly. So if you look back up at paragraph 10, it says you disperse the laughing lotus before they devoured the county crops. It means you spread them over a wide area. And then it says you devoured the county crops. The county crops means before they eat them. All right, page 19. Otto said, thank you for your concern, Mr. Flux. Indeed, we could do a lot more good for our county if we had more time. Mr. Flux's smile grew to the width that threatened to split his head in two. Oh my goodness! I may be able to help you, if only in a small way, with a gift. Even though Otto liked Mr. Flux, or rather he liked that Mr. Flux liked them, fans were awesome. He knew to be cautious with strangers when strangers offered help, either by gift or effort. As Grandma said often, nothing good is free or cheap. Otto stepped forward, polite though a little disappointed, to decline the present. No, sir, you don't have to give us anything. Our grandma says we shouldn't take stuff for doing right. Mr. Flux paid him no mind. Stooped on one knee, his arms lost in the mouth of the bag while he searched. Finally, he sprang upright. Here. Balanced on the man's palm was a camera, bulky with a strap to hang around your neck and a slim slot along its front. It was the kind of device that seemed ancient, like Grandma's not flat TV with the rabbit ears antennas. She'd relax a bit. Otto fought to hide how unimpressed he was by the gift. I don't know if it will be much help to you, said Mr. Flux, but a camera like this is special. It will capture the best time of your life. Doesn't that sound wonderful? It did, Otto agreed, but couldn't believe the old school camera even still worked. Not wanting to embarrass Mr. Flux when the gift was an obvious piece of junk, he accepted the offer, grabbed the camera by its strap. Well, thank you. We'll put it to good use. Would you, Mr. Flux, unshadowed? I took on a puppy dog quality. Would you honor me by taking a picture? We're going to page 20. Go ahead and turn your page. A view, Otto asked. He twisted away slightly. No, a fry maybe. This view of the city is spectacular. Hefting the camera, Otto tested the weight. Heavy, almost uncomfortably so. Somehow that made it feel more valuable. How could he not honor the request of a man who gave it to them? Sure, why not? Otto, she'd said, uncertain, but without a good solid reason. When he didn't go on, Otto shrugged and raised the camera viewfinder to his eye level. The lens was amazing, so clear, almost clearer than looking at Fry with his own two eyes. With his index finger, he found the shutter release. Press here. Yes, Mr. Flux said joyfully, just like that. Otto nodded and pressed the button. Click! Then there was a flash in the viewfinder, a blinding white light, visible for a second, then a motorized whir from inside the camera. Otto lowered it, confused. Sheed was next to him in an instant, hearing it too. A stiff plastic square, white border, black center, unspooled from the slit along the camera front. She'd pulled the filmy paper free. Already the black center lightened. Familiar images of county landmarks brightened into view. That photo, Mr. Flux said, will be an eternal keepsake of the day. Would you two like a similar photo of yourselves? She'd stared at the photo in his hand, saw no reason to object. Otto gave the camera to Mr. Flux. Excellent, he said. Squeeze in tight. I want to get all of you. Excellent. Otto beamed with twisted to his right side, his good side. He looped an arm over Sheed's shoulder, hoping his cousin didn't have his usual awkward smile. Their picture had been in the Logan County Gazette a bunch of times, and Sheed always looked like he was trying to suck broccoli from his teeth. Mr. Flux raised the camera. On 3. 1, 2, another flash. Not from the camera, from the sky. A blinding electric blue hole ripped the very air next to Mr. Flux, and the man ejected it feet first, as if from the end of a steep water slide. He kicked Mr. Flux, knocking the camera free. Before Mr. Flux recovered, the stranger scrambled to his feet, whipping his head around, startled and confused. He was brown, like the boys, who wore dark goggles, cinched tight through a mane of coiled dreadlocks that whipped about as he got his bearings. Did it work? Is this the right day? He said, his eyes resting on Otto and then Sheed. For a moment his face flickered, the confusion replaced by a slight smile. Then he glanced sideways to the man he kicked over, Flux. Mr. Flux began to roost, but the stranger leapt on him, pinning him, or trying to. The pair rolled in the grass. The way they grappled, it didn't seem like the stranger would be able to hold Mr. Flux very long. His dark goggles angled in their direction. He yelled, "Take the camera and run! Whatever you do, don't take any more pictures." So at the bottom of page 20, we have the word keepsake. A keepsake is something saved because of the memories it brings to mind. Okay, so that's what he gave them, the camera. And on the other side, it said ejected. It talks about how he ejected out, and it said force out of something in a sudden way. And flickered is something that says briefly showed emotion. So something that was very small. Okay, and that is the end of page 21. Let's read page 22. The portal the stranger had come through blinked away, leaving undisturbed air and sky in its place. Otto and Sheed eyed the space it had occupied. They understood portals were doors, and the stranger was now on their side. So what was on the other side? Where had he come from? Why was he attacking Mr. Flux? The two men kept rolling. Broken blades of grass clung to their clothes like green lint. The stranger drew back his left fist to punch Mr. Flux, and a silver band on his ring finger gleamed. Otto lurched forward, intending to break up the fight, but Sheeds gripped his arm hard. "No, Otto, look!" Mr. Flux twisted beneath the stranger in ways a normal person could never imagine, stretching like he was made of taffy. He dodged the punch easily by bending his neck into a sideways U shape, then coiled his leg around the stranger's waist, the way Sheed wrapped licorice around his pinky before eating it. And the word lurch is made a sudden, unsteady movement. And this is the end of part 1. You will watch part 2 tomorrow and listen to read. Sorry, I was a little bit off reading, but I am tired and it's 12 something at night, and I wanted to make sure I read the story to you. All right, enjoy.